one last hurrah, try and go scorched earth, win a Super Bowl, and then go your separate ways in Green Bay?
Look, could Aaron Rodgers be any more transparent than he's been this entire summer? He's been very clear, very honest about his entire situation. And again, I think there was a real chance he wasn't going to come back. He said as much many times. He didn't know that he was coming back. And one of the reasons he came back, one of the primary reasons, aside from the love of his teammates and coaches, is the fact that he was able to turn the tables and shift the control after this season to himself. Whereas this year, the Packers had money they could have gone after. They controlled his right. Now, after this season, by coming in this season, he shifted all that to where he controls it after this season. And that's why he could sit back there very calmly, very coolly, and very honestly and say, we don't know what's going to happen. We'll see after this year. Because you know what? He'll get to make that decision. If he wants to go back to Green Bay, then he can. If he wants to move on, he will. And that obviously is clearly an option. And when Devonta Adams comes out and says, no chance I'm signing a contract extension, because he knows there's a real chance that the quarterback's not going to be there.
So does they go scorched earth here? That's what I keep thinking, is that these things can go one of two ways. I mean, I was there when Michael and Scotty did The Last Dance and won a championship, but it can also go in the other direction when you know that this is one and done in a situation. How's it going to work out?
Well, listen, Greeny, I really don't know. I mean, I think they have an opportunity, a good chance to win a Super Bowl like anybody else. But if they fall short, I think, he's going to ride off to the sunset anyway, right? And I think Devonta Adams, and I think that,
What does ride off into the sunset mean?
Well, right up to the sunset, I think this is last season in Green Bay. He's gone. I think he has a something that he's going to tell Devonta Adams, and Devonta Adams understands, hey, let's see how this things play out. Now, sometimes things can change, but I think he's going to leave. I think he wants to go play with Derek Carr. I just don't know if Gruden wants Derek Carr there for a long term as well. So I think Devonta Adams understands his greener pastures on somewhere else, and it's time for a change of scenery.
Lewis, does this sort of thing work for or against it? Again, this is a team that's been in the NFL's Final Four the last 2 seasons. So all of this hovering above and around them, does it work for or against them?
Well, I think it definitely works for him. I mean, he has kind of alluded to, certain slights throughout his career that have always given him an extra boost and a reason to kind of shove it right down the throat of the people who doubted him in the first place. I mean, that's really what precipitated last year's performance, wasn't it? I mean, Jordan Love being there, although it wasn't about Jordan Love, him being there and the fact that the Packers thought that Aaron had basically crested the mountaintop and was on his way down really ignited a fire in him. Now this year, knowing that, maybe in 2022 he can dictate a little bit more about how his career ends, of course that's going to ignite another fire in him, especially given how this offseason went and all the talk that we had about him all offseason long. So look, when guys have reached this point, they're always looking for those little things to give him a push. He's got it now. He's got it, and he will play one of his best seasons of his career, no question, in my mind.
Well, last year, his season resulted in him being the league MVP. No one has won that award in back-to-back seasons since Peyton Manning did it a generation ago. So let's see who we think is going to win it this year. If you were sort of making a projection here, I see Bart's name up first. Bart, who's going to be the MVP this year?
Well, for me, Greeny, location matters, right? And I think a lot of people don't appreciate and understand just how good of a quarterback Matthew Stafford is and has been. He just so happened to be picked by the Detroit Lions, and he couldn't beat that team. He's going to go out to you talk about breaking records. I think he can really have an opportunity to break the record of Peyton Manning at 5,500 yards. I think he can go for 6,000. And I know that's saying a lot, but this is a guy that's thrown for 5,000. He doesn't have Cam Akers. He's going to be airing the ball out. People will know. It will be no more West Coast bias. He's my MVP, Greeny.
Wow, when Bart Scott talks about the Lions, you should know where it comes from. Where you from again?
Detroit.
That's exactly right. So he knows it better than anybody. How about you, Lewis?
Well, Bart, let me just say this. I hope that happens because that'd be great for my fantasy team. Yeah, that's my quarterback. So yeah, let's go ahead back with that, Matt Stafford. Look, I'm gonna pick Josh Allen because if you saw him in the preseason, in the limited time that he did play, man, does he look good. He has taken it up another notch with as far as his command of Brian Daboll's offense, his ability to throw just absolute lasers with tremendous accuracy. He just has that look of someone who's saying, hey, look, I'm continuing to ascend now. I'm continuing to get better. My team is better. My defense is better. We have great expectations up here. I think he caps it off with an MVP season in 2021.
Now, all good picks, and I'll pick another. There was a little bit of a trend of second-year quarterbacks winning that award for a while, and so I will put Justin Herbert's name into this conversation. I've been saying it a while. I was blown away by how good he was under very adverse circumstances last year. I think that's a sneaky good team. They've gotten a lot better. Their offensive line should be a lot better. They lost a lot of close games last year. They were like 10 plays away from being in the playoff hunt late in the season. I think Justin Herbert is going to put up monster numbers, and he is my preseason pick for MVP.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.